going on, YouTube? I got Dan here, the CMO of Platofarm. We've already had one call, guys, one interview. Here's our second call. Lots to discuss, lots of updates with the platform. Dan, how you doing today, my man?
I'm good. Thank you, Professor Crypto. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Our pleasure, man. It's a privilege to have you on our channel as well. I'm just going to start off here with our first question, and it's just going to be recapping your platform a little bit for those who haven't seen our first interview. Can you explain to us about Platofarm and about yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. So, Platofarm is, well, firstly, let's start about myself. So, I am CMO of Platofarm. You can find me on Twitter at Dan7Magic. CMO of Platofarm, been there for the last couple months, and it's been an amazing journey. I've been helping Platofarm with marketing, with community growth, with fundraising and partnerships, pretty much everything to do with just growing the business, growing the community, and it's been a really great journey. The Platofarm team is amazing. I've really loved working with them. So yeah, we're looking at doing some great things. To tell you a little bit more about the project is a Metaverse game where players join the game and are given a barren piece of farmland. There are certain tasks which players can complete to start earning an income within the game, and actually start once they earn an income with the game, they can start purchasing seeds for their farm and start planting crops on their farm. They can then take these plants or these crops and start selling that on the open market to generate income for themselves. So what this means essentially is they start building out their farmland. Once they start generating income, they can start investing in sheds and cows and chickens, and this is all tradable on the open market. So it's a Metaverse game, play to earn. And the goal of the game is for players to actually find alliances within the game and develop their farmlands into from a barren farmland into a bustling city. And we've seen amazing traction in our community. Players are really engaged with the game. We're starting to see farms developed. The game is currently live on the Apple App Store as well as the Android App Store, and those that can all be found on our website at platofarm.game. You can find the download links there.
Nice, very well said. Well, welcome back again, Dan. We're very happy to have you here. Moving into to the next question, can you tell us about some of your partnerships and who you plan to collaborate with in the future?
Yeah, sure. So some of our partnerships just on the investor front was partners such as Bobby Ventures, OKX Blockchain Ventures, Kronos, OP Crypto, Cyfolio Ventures, Web4 Ventures. So we had some really good investors early on who really helped us just take the game to the next level. Like through them we actually managed to build out a really, really good and big engineering team, just through the investment that they've supported us with. We've seen this game grow from like each iteration of the product just keeps getting better and better. And that's all thanks to our partners. We've had some amazing community members standing up to partner with the game as well. And then recently we actually listed on a number of different platforms, which include Huobi. We listed on Huobi Exchange, on Gate, on KuCoin, on OKX. So these are all our great partners, which have really helped us to get the game into its current state.
Well, congratulations on making that so far. You guys have definitely come a long way. Definitely looks like a very successful project, and we like what we see. So that's first-hand feedback from content creators. We definitely like what we see. Platofarm looks great. My next question for you, Dan. We noticed that the tokens in the game, the Mark token and the Plato token, so there's two of them. Can you tell us more about them and where to buy them?
Yes, of course. So Plato token is that is, I would say, the more valuable token within the game, and that's what's been listed on those listing exchanges, which I mentioned on Huobi, OKX, Gate, and KuCoin. So players or users can actually buy and sell the tokens on those platforms. And what Plato token does is that essentially is players' reputation within the game. So So the better players start getting, the more Plato token they start accumulating. So players can actually also start earning Plato token within the game. And that happens through achieving certain levels. So, for example, maybe a player has sells 1,000 types of a certain crop, for example. Then they'll actually reach a new level and accumulate more Plato token. These Plato tokens can be used to purchase more productive NFTs within the game or more productive assets. For example, maybe a tractor or certain types of sheds for storing your goods. And those productive assets actually allow you to start planting more crops and really seeing your farm grow through at an accelerated rate. So that's Plato token. Then we have the Mark token. Now, Mark token is the basic currency within the game. Every time you do a sale within the game, you are earning or purchasing with the Mark token. Mark token has a daily supply capped at a billion Mark token. However, this fluctuates based on the GDP in the game in the form of G Mark. So say on a given day there's a significantly higher number of transactions, that the G Mark token will get converted into the Mark token, essentially apportioned into the billion Mark tokens. Now, with every sale that happens, 25% of the Mark token gets put into the Platofarm treasury and gets burned, and that creates a deflationary cycle of Mark tokens. So it's not a constant inflation. And then Mark token is also used to purchase usable assets within the game. For example, a shovel. Now, this shovel will have a certain number of uses in it. Maybe you can use the shovel 3 or 4 times, and once those 3 or 4 times are done, the shovel disappears. So that in itself also creates a deflationary mechanism within the game, because it's essentially Mark token disappearing out of the game, because you can't resell that shovel. So those are the 2 tokens. Mark token is can be purchased within the game or on some of those exchanges too.
I think I can differentiate and distinguish between the two now. What are the characteristics of Platofarm's Mark economic model, and how does Platofarm maintain a sustainable game ecosystem?
Yes, so I think that is pretty much what I did touch on in the last point. So that is mainly just around the fact that the economic model, it is developed by the team and by our advisors, and it's pretty unique. And it's pretty much, it's as I mentioned, there's that exchange rate between Mark and G Mark based on the GDP within the game to ensure that players are rewarded based on the level of activity in the game as a whole, not just based on their transaction. So if a lot of players are transacting on a certain day, each player is rewarded with less Mark, and if very few players are transacting in a day, the few players earn a bigger percentage of the Mark. So that's the first thing. The second point to ensure economic sustainability, as mentioned, is the 25% transaction tax. And the third point is on the usable assets which get used up within the game, and Mark is used to purchase those types of assets.
So yeah, I think that definitely answers that question for us in between your last answer and this answer. My next question for you: how does Platofarm compete in the gaming market, especially when it comes to P2E? And what great innovation do you offer to your investors and players?
Yeah, so there are a number of different competitive advantages to Plato, and I would say those advantages revolve around 3 or 4 buckets. The first one is our technology, which is really great. Essentially, and that actually includes our economic model and how that's all rolled up. But I'd say what's really good about our technology is, firstly, everything is within the game. So we have our in-game wallet, we have an in-game mining system, an in-game staking system, in-game exchanges. So everything happens within the game. So players actually, all they need to do is jump on board and start playing, and no need to connect any third-party software. Secondly, it's our UI and UX. So we've got just like amazing user interface. And I've got a 10-year-old brother who picked up a phone and started playing the game, and it almost immediately was like could understand it and was hooked on the game. an hour later he was showing me like all the stuff that he's rolled out on his farm. So I think that's a huge differentiator for us. Thirdly is our, as mentioned briefly, is our partnerships. We've just had like amazing support. We've got really, really good advisors who've allowed us to also build a really good team, which I think is super important. And I guess the team is committed to the long-term vision of this game. And then lastly, I'd say is our strong community. We've got, if you look at our social media channels, we've got like, I think it's around 150,000 on Twitter and about 70,000 on Telegram followers. So, and this community is always engaged, always asking when the next version of the game is coming out, always looking to support and help out the team in any way possible. And then with once you download the game, you can also just see like users are speaking with each other, users are interacting with each other. So I think that strong community for us is really important in differentiating from our competitors.
Can you discuss with us and share with us a little your roadmap and your plans? What can we look forward to in the future?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thank you. So if we take a step back and we look at where we've come from, so I think the alpha version of the game was actually launched in around September last year, and the beta version came out shortly after that in I think November, and then there was a gamma version in December, and now we've currently rolled out V1 of the game. In January, we also had a public sale of our tokens on TokenSoft, which was a success for the team. So currently we're in V1 of the game. And as mentioned, we did do our listing on those exchanges about 5 or 6 days ago, which the team is extremely excited about. And now going forward, we're looking at essentially deploying just more capital and investing that in the game. So hopefully V2 rolls out sometime in May. And then we've got a whole lot of different feature updates which will be happening through the year. And these are just different economic models, different incentives for players. And these will all be rolled out slowly but surely throughout the year. And we're expecting the final version of the game to be rolled out towards the end of the year. And thereafter, players will be able to actually own their own plots of land, own their own NFTs, which is already happening now. But that's when we almost want to start handing over the governance of the game into the DAO.
So now tying into my other questions and some of the answers that you have already provided, but how can players start earning with Platofarm?
So that's mainly through the accumulation of Mark token. And so as mentioned, that's the basic currency within the game. So once you start accumulating Mark token, you start building up. You can actually start building up your farm into a more valuable property, essentially. And through that too, every time you level up, you start earning Plato tokens. So and you can then use your Plato tokens to start purchasing more productive assets to start earning more Mark token. So the two tokens kind of work in a very symbiotic way where the one benefits the other. And through the accumulation of these tokens, which have value on secondary exchanges, players can actually sell their tokens for stable coins, for example, and earn income through that.
Do you guys have any plans for burning some of these tokens in the future to reduce the supply of the token and increase its investment attractiveness? That kind of thing? Supply demand?
So a percentage of the tokens will be burned, and that happens with every trade. With every trade within the game system. So that keeps the deflationary cycle down.
Okay.
However, they're obviously, that's mainly on the Mark token. The Plato token, there is a limited supply of Plato tokens, which has been, that's been allocated already into various segments. I think it's a significant portion of that which is allocated to the gameplay. I think it's around 60% or so is allocated into the gameplay itself.
So you mentioned that you guys listed on a bunch of other exchanges, which again, congratulations to you and the team for that success. Now, just to recap for everybody here, like if they're looking to purchase tokens, where can they buy your token? Will it be less expensive or more expensive? Are there any possible links to your social media platforms, that kind of thing? I mean, I'm going to put all of that in the description, but talk to us about where we can purchase the token as kind of a summary and a recap just for anyone who wants that shot off one answer right there.
So our token can be purchased on 4 exchanges. So that's Huobi, OKX, Gate, and KuCoin. And players or users are able to find our tokens listed on those exchanges. And yeah, happy to send through some of those links to you. Otherwise, players can check out our Twitter, which is Platofarm, or our Telegram, and we've always got updates on there. Yeah.
Okay.
Happy to forward those links.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yes, please do. My last question for you here, Dan, because we're running out of time, and I know you're very busy. You have other interviews that you need to attend. Can you update us with some of Platofarm's latest news or significant events that we should know about? I know that you've touched on that a little bit in your other answers to my questions, but is there, again, as a holistic point of view, as a summary, as a wrap up, what would you say?
Yeah, I think we've been preparing for listing of our token for quite a while, just to get our players involved. So that's obviously very recent, happened only 5 days ago. So I'd say that's our latest news. And then I guess just staying tuned for the next product updates. Well, yeah, once again, it's just been the team is great and always kind of excelling what I think that they will accomplish, which is amazing. I'm continuously surprised by the team and their ability to roll out and to execute. So I'm sure there's going to be some very exciting updates in the near-term future.
Thank you very much, Dan. We really appreciate you coming on the channel again, answering all of our questions, making us feel more comfortable and understanding the project some more. Was there anything else you wanted to end off with? Anything you wanted to say to the crowd here?
No, that's it. Thank you. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks for just our strong community and for the continued support of our community. We look forward to bringing in new players and really bringing you into the community. And feel free to reach out to the Platofarm team if you have any questions.
Thank you so much again for your time today, Dan. Have yourself a great evening or morning, or I think you're based in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay, yeah, in California. Okay, so you're about 3 hours behind. So have yourself a great rest of your day, sir. And thanks again for coming on the channel.
All right, thanks so much. You too.
Have a good one, Dan. Take care.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.